Tools for managing stress with your stress signature and your body rocking. Hi, I start this video with a story. It's about a 12-year-old boy who, many years ago, was going on a Christmas holiday to the beach with his mum and dad. He was looking forward to swimming and meeting his friends. At a short distance before arrival, his father stopped the car to repair a puncture, and while he was doing so, a drunk driver came and took him out. I was that 12-year-old boy. That was my dad, my best friend. My older brother was injured also. There was little help in those days, and children weren't even allowed to attend funerals. My name is Neil Kennedy, a retired scientist, and in much later years went looking for answers to handle stress and trauma. Medical science was of little help, so I began to look outside the box, and in this video it's a summary of my experiences. Years ago, I was invited to work in a healing clinic in the States. I used to do lots of work over there. Didn't have much experience in those days, but I got to work with a whole range of people with lots of different health issues. I realized that the key was providing a safe place, that's no judgment, by using a simple rocking technique, body rocking, and going after the associated emotions. For example, anger, devastation, guilt, loss that were locked in their bodies. It was a steep learning curve, but I saw some amazing results. For example, I did a session with a lady who was suffering from severe menstrual pain. I gave her a gentle body rock and posed the question, if you could name the predominant emotion that triggered the pain, what would it be? Her immediate answer was guilt. Her next words were, I have got it. And the pain stopped. She told me that she had had an abortion several months prior and that she had been taking enough painkillers to knock over a horse, and nothing worked. What happened was that the emotions of guilt were showing up every month. Just the right key to the door. Back around to your stress signature. It comes from such experiences and is my best tool, for it shows the relationship between cause and effect of stress in a person's life and the people around them. And when you can measure, you have more options to manage. Many people who commit suicide don't realize that they're at a tipping point. Combine it with body rocking, which is an upgrade of mother's intuitive rocking of their bubbies, and you have some powerful tools, which we will now describe. Since the arrival of COVID-19, life has been chaotic for many, and this stuff is important for a stable life for you and your family. This is where you push the button to ensure you get access to future video aids. Your stress signature. We all have one. Each is unique because of the effect of stress on your brain and body. Different for everybody. I worked with a lady in her late 20s, and her big hit was not the sexual abuse she had suffered, but it was losing her toy tiger over the side of a boat at age 5. There are 3 parts. 1, your signature. We are wired for survival, fight, flight, freeze. And this is a summary of the most stressful times in your life, and a simple signature could be your first day at school, being bullied at school, fail an exam, miss out on a university position, miss out on a job, and there's an associated emotion, e.g. loss, anger, devastation, which locks the experience into your brain and body. This is where our brain and body are influenced by emotional experiences accumulated throughout your life. You will notice that the points vary with width and height, and it's designed to show the effects are different for everybody. The rising baseline indicates that over time we have less space in our brain and body. And also to mention that many people don't have a spiky signature. Theirs is more a gradual uphill line like so. After a stressful time or traumatic experience, we try to move on in our lives, but the emotion associated with past events often does not. It can become locked in your body, ready to resurface in the future. For example, I worked with a man who had had severe back pain for 12 years. He told me that it had started a few months after his father had been killed during a local shop robbery. I used body rocking to create the safe place as he talked his way through the experience and then posed these questions. If you could name the predominant emotion associated with your death of your dad, what would it be? His answer was devastation. If there is a predominant place in your body where you hold these emotions, where would they be? In my spine, he said. I remember how he said the words. He had now had a measurement, a cause and effect. And with that knowledge, we focused on the pain and simply rocked it away. No further effects 3 years later. Medical science says that approximately 75% of health issues have an emotional component. I suspect it's more like 90%. 2, your energy levels. Because our brains are wired emotionally for survival, it means there is a withdrawal from our energy bank equal to the experience. It's shown here as a descending baseline, a mirror image. And like in a computer with little memory, you don't function at your best. These lines indicate that resolving issues will give us more space in our lives. Overwhelm. That's survival. This is a zone where your brain goes into emergency mode to provide additional power to deal with a situation or experience. Okay for short periods, but when you constantly occupy this zone, major problems can arise. For this is a zone of collision and decreasing energy levels of energy. And this can trigger burnout. The bomb goes off. And you are left to pick up the pieces. And you know that the bomb can go off anywhere in this zone. The effects can be temporary, for example, anxiety and panic attacks, or long-term, for example, depression. That the difference between a good day and a bad day can be really small, depending on how much available space you have. Example is a man who's in his 50s or thereabouts and they're good diet, physically active, but one day he gets a parking meter ticket and he loses the plot and has a heart attack. So what was happening there? He went over the top into overwhelm. How to make use of your stress signature. Make one for yourself. It could change your life. For every point on your graph, guess how much available energy it absorbed. I have seen people's lives change simply by understanding the stress diagram. And also, to note, if you are using therapies such as homeopathic, chiropractic, Reiki, etc., results are likely to be enhanced with the information given in this video. If we use the example of the lady who lost her toy tiger, we might say that it took 50% of her available energy, 25% more for the sexual abuse, which left her only 25% to manage her life a little bit like an overload computer. And when you do this, you will gain an insight into how much available space you have, and particularly during really stressful times. And with every point you can pose questions such as, what might be the predominant emotion? And where might these in my body be? You will know it, feel it, or both. As you gain awareness of where you may hold particular emotions, you will gain insights into your health. For example, back pain. Dr. John Sarno, who was a medical rehabilitation professor in the States, estimated that most back pain can be attributed to the accumulation of high levels of emotional stress. What emotional program is running here? For example, a young girl comes home from school in a distressed state and says she was bullied. What do? Have her sit down with her feet quite close together while touching the floor. Put your hands on her knees and gently rock her side to side. The safe place. Have her talk through the experience without judgment. Ask her where she might be feeling the effects of the bullying. It's different for everybody. It can be in various parts of your body. Now, let's tell it to go away. And with a very short time, she's likely to feel the difference. So it's about adjusting the brain so she's not on overwhelm and thus less likely to be stressed when she returns to school. Another example, with an older person, have them sit down as above and focus on a trauma or stressful time. Pose the question, if you could name the predominant emotion associated with this issue, what would it be? And if there's a predominant place in your body, not your brain, where you feel these emotions, where would it be? They will know it, feel it, or both. And the next step is to focus on resolving the issue. How do you do that? By rocking it away. Or to keep it simple, just issue an instruction. Whatever shock or emotional reaction may be present, for that to be resolved, and rock it away. Body rocking. As previously mentioned, it's an upgrade of mothers' intuitive rocking of their babies, which has been around almost forever. It creates good chemicals in your brain and body, such as oxytocin, and can be used most anywhere, anytime, such as before an exam, before a job interview, etc., and suitable for people of all ages. Make use of rocking chairs. Teachers of small children, have them body rock to good music at the beginning of class. It will quickly put them in a good space. For details on body rocking, look up on YouTube, Rocking Neil Kennedy, Neil with 2 L's. As mentioned, suicide is a major problem around the world. There are many reasons why people take their lives. My experience indicates that many do so because they are not aware of how close or in overwhelmed they are. That it can be a very small event, the last straw that triggers it. I know of a number of people who would almost certainly be alive today if they had been familiar with their stress signature, for they would have had more choices to manage their life. Post-traumatic stress disorder and suicide is a major issue. I have worked with men who have been on the battlefield, and where a member of a family has taken or committed suicide. I worked with a military man who had spent 3 tours on the battlefields in the Middle East. He later told me he had had post-traumatic stress for 10 years. It was life-changing for him. The session I did with him, showed him the diagram, did the session with him, provided the safe place, and he was a changed man in 15 minutes. There were other people present in the room at that time, and I was told later there wasn't a dry eye in the room. And the lady I worked with too, she came home and her husband had committed suicide. He had hung himself in the shed. She came to see me a while later, worked with her, and she says, I was so pleased to be able to come and have a session with you. It changed her life. It gave her the opportunity to come to terms with what had happened. So the point here is that if you could take the knowledge that you learn from this video, your signature, couple it with body rocking, the safe place, what value, what difference could you make in somebody's life? What if you could even avoid a suicide happening? What value would that be? Thanks for watching. Comments appreciated. My name's Neil Kennedy, and I wish you well.